Am I the asshole for refusing to babysit my niece while my sister goes on vacation? My sister is going on vacation for a week soon and isn't taking her 2-year-old daughter, Elise, with her. My sister still lives at home with me and our parents, and normally they would be the ones to look after Elise when my sister is out. But they're working the week that she'll be away during, so they aren't an option for during the day. My mother came up to me recently and asked how I would feel about looking after Elise for the week during the day until they arrive home from work. And I told her I wouldn't want to because I have no idea how to look after a toddler, and I don't want to be with her for that length of time. She said that was okay and didn't mention anything about it after. She must have told my sister because she pretty much stormed into my room and asked me why I don't want to look after Elise. I told her the same thing I told my mother, and she started trying to make me feel bad or something by asking me why I wouldn't want to spend time with my niece if I love her and stuff like that. I told her I don't care what she says because I wasn't doing it, and she said I was being selfish by not doing this after everything she's done for me, and that she's stuck for a babysitter now because of me. I just told her she should have thought about that before she decided to book a vacation, and she left. Not the asshole. You're exactly right. Not wanting to be responsible for a toddler all day long for a week straight, if not more, seeing that you live there, makes perfect sense, and it does not mean you don't love your niece. It's fairly transparent. Entitled sister, who is highly dependent on her parents, wants to go on vacation and doesn't understand why others aren't willing to bend over backwards to make that happen for her. She's a parent. Childcare responsibilities, including lining up an appropriate and qualified sitter, are solely hers and Elise's dad's. I think part of the reason she's mad is because she probably thought I would do it for free, and she wouldn't have to pay for a babysitter. Lol. Nah, that's not part of the reason. That's the one and only reason she's mad. She is an entitled a-hole for trying to dump her toddler on you. Using the old classic line of, "You would want to spend time with your niece if you love her," is the go-to manipulation tactic used by the truly selfish. Not the asshole. All the way. Not the asshole. Here's a little game that I like to play. I take the issue, stick a big red bow on it, and hand it back to the person who created it. Don't defend your position, keep the focus on their actions. You can play too. Sister, why don't you want to spend time with my child? You're going away for a week? Seems like you don't want to spend that time with your child. I'm a parent, I need a break. Parents have a responsibility to care for their children. If you need a break from that responsibility, then you are required to make those arrangements. You're being selfish. This has nothing to do with me. If you insist on going away without tending to your parental responsibilities, then you are being selfish. See? It's fun for all. Keep the focus on her choices. Don't let her make it all about you. Wow, your sister's attempt to manipulate you deserves a polite round of golf clapping. 2 points for implying that you don't love your niece if you don't watch her for a week. 2 points for outright claiming you're selfish for not volunteering for this duty. 2 points for stating that you're the reason she's stuck for a babysitter. 2 bonus points for none of these being true. You are definitely not the asshole here, but your sister definitely is. I especially love how she couldn't be bothered to ask any of this from you directly or to try to work out a deal with you. Am I the asshole for ruining a funeral and potentially costing a lot of family members their jobs? My grandparents passed away recently. I followed the guidelines my grandma set up for her final event. Her church, her burial plot, her casket, and the same for my grandpa. I just didn't expect for it to be a joint funeral. I sent out the notifications to friends of theirs and family after the date was set in stone. Their friends all came. So did most of my grandma's church, but no family showed up. I wasn't surprised. I hadn't seen most of them in about 4 years. I had a great time with my grandparents' friends, and then I went back home and cried my heart out. I had been their sole caregiver, and I didn't know what to do without them. I had taken care of them for 15 years. It started with little things like lifting heavy things and escalated to needing to change the bed twice a night sometimes. I was empty and started to scroll through my grandpa's Facebook to see pictures he posted before his memory went. I found a group, started about 3 years ago, that was being flooded with activity. When I went poking around, I found out it was my mother who was hosting a funeral at her church and was trying to get final expenses taken care of. I was stunned. Here was the woman I hadn't spoken to since throwing her out of the house for stealing jewelry and upsetting Grandma terribly by using her Alzheimer's against her. How could you forget my birthday? You promised to give me this. I went to the funeral my mother had planned and listened to the pastor, and then my mother got up to talk. She told everyone how hard it was taking care of them, and something inside me roared to life. I don't remember everything I said, but it did include that she didn't pay for anything for them. Not their caskets, not their burial plots, not their cremation, nothing. I told everyone. I put them to rest at the funeral Grandma planned herself 4 days prior. I said she'd never paid for any of their care, or even seen them for 4 years. I was asked to leave and drove home. Later, a cousin asked me if what I said was true, and when I said it was, and I could provide proof, they explained my mother had been taking funds from the family for years to pay for their care at a facility because they had outlived their insurance policy. They also explained I got a lot of people in trouble because somewhere in the speech I shouted I had done it all alone for years without any help. A lot of family members used my grandparents as an excuse to get out of work and had invited their coworkers to the funeral. By hearing my outburst, they were now in trouble for lying as for the reasons to leave work or miss days. She then went on to ask me about the inheritance and when that would be passed out. I told her that if anyone had earned the inheritance, it had already been taken care of. I thought I was in the right, but now I'm doubting myself after so many cousins and family members are calling to tell me I handled it really poorly. Am I the asshole? Did I handle this badly? Everyone's telling me I did. Not the asshole. I'm honestly not entirely sure how you could have handled that better without being ignored. Your family members created these situations for themselves and now must deal with the consequences. I mean, most if not all of them came to their actual funerals. You handled everything, both for their care over the last 15 years and in their passing. And that's probably been very hard for you, especially if you don't have any support yourself. I hope you do. Be kinder to yourself, you're grieving, and will need some time to heal. If you need someone to talk to, feel free to DM me. None of the family members came to the funeral. Some of them I've excused in my head because of my mom's actions. She sent out messages to everyone. The location had changed due to issues with the size of the location. Grandma had picked out the location for her funeral, the same place she used to teach sewing lessons and run childcare teaching events. She loved that location. It was attached to her church. She didn't care what your question was, she'd answer it and help you to solve it. Didn't know how to fix the seam of your jeans? She could help. Didn't know how to stop your baby from crying all night? She'd know. She ran a lot of services for her community that still stand strong today, one of which is the Early Days program at her church. Members sign up to visit new parents, do laundry, vacuum, dust, do dishes, cook a meal, watch the baby if the parents need to sleep. I'm so proud of her for the impact on her community she left. Your grandma was an incredible person. Condolences on your loss of both grandparents. Not the asshole. You told the truth. The truth exposed your mother's hypocrisy and how she was scamming the family for money. It also exposed the scams of those who were pretending to care. The term for this is poetic justice, and it was overdue. I'm still trying to figure out why they would lie about coming to help and not even bother to pick up the phone to call and check in with them. It makes no sense why they would use that as an excuse to me. What did they have to gain? A free day? They have dozens of other people they could have used, but they fixated on using my grandparents. Not the asshole. Hire a probate attorney. If they left anything at all behind, hire a probate attorney. And I mean anything at all. Having trouble accessing a bank account. That's because your power of attorney, if you had one, is void now that they are gone. Some banks are nice, some require probate. They had a house? Probate. Find the wills? If they had things like a house and bank accounts you can no longer access and no wills, the best you can do is get an attorney, or your mother can and will try to take everything as a direct heir. With her plans. Search NALA.org, National Association of Elder Law Attorneys, to find someone in your area to help you. I'm so sorry for your loss. You have enough on your plate. Get an attorney to lighten the load. Just call. You'll eventually find someone like me who will be sad with you and know everything you need to do. It gets better, I promise. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.